up. Let us begin. Okay, just let your eyes shut for a few moments. And with eyes shut, you just start to become aware of your surroundings. Become aware of the sounds within them. Become aware. Just a sense of space around you. And letting yourself arrive with your breath, with yourself. And taking a big circle up through the arms, a deep in-breath, lifting energy, and out-breath, palms to heart. Making connection, hands to heart. Just bowing head down, greeting the heart. We'll do another big circle through the arms, breathing in. And again, guiding palms into the heart. And then taking your hands, right hand to left knee, left hand just behind, arrive into a twist over to the left. Giving yourself time and space to follow the out-breath from the body. And then take your twist round the other side. And arriving back to your center line. So allow your eyes to open as you shrug out the shoulders a couple of times. And then, still staying in your seat, or do stretch out your legs if you'd like to, or just walk the hands forward a little bit. Just so you feel that sense of draw forwards through the spine, maybe a bit of opening through the groin into the hips. Then we'll slide the hands back and up into sitting. So coming into an upright cat and cow here, do change your seat if you would prefer to here. With your out breath, we're going to curve the shoulders over. And with your in breath, you're going to ease from the spine, lift it up. So another out breath, you'll start to follow that curve from the base of the spine up and over, all the way into the crown. And with the in breath from the base of the spine, you're lifting up. I'll do that a couple more times. We'll do one more round. And knees coming up to your center line. And we just sit with our feet hovering off the floor here. Hands can come underneath the backs of the thighs here to give yourself a little support. Just letting the feet hang either sides. In breath, we'll take the knees away from each other. The feet are still lifted. So you've got to use a little bit of core there to keep that lift. Out breath, feet back together. Another in breath, knees apart. And in-breath back together. Hands coming down either sides of your hips now, and out-breath, stretch out your legs. And with legs stretched out, you can start to fold your spine forward and into a forward fold. And keep your hands by the sides of the body here. Lengthen out into the neck. Drawing forwards. Root down the backs of the legs. Draw your shoulders back if you feel them creeping forward. And in breath, we lift up and into sitting. Very good. Hands coming behind the spine now, and we'll lean back into the shoulders, squeezing the shoulder blades together, drawing up into the spine. Chin can arrive up at the ceiling. You're just getting that nice sense of a gentle back bend here and opening through the front of the body. And holding that, in breath, we point the toes away from the body. And out breath, toes coming back in. In breath, toes away. Out breath, toes back in. Coming into an upright position now, taking the arms out to the sides of the body. Now, if you notice your shoulders want to rise up, allow them to drop down. Keep a bit of lift through the arms, out into the fingertips. Deep in breath, drawing up the spine. And out breath, holding that lift up through the body. Another in breath. Stretch out into the arms, the shoulders. And then we'll turn the palms up towards ceiling. Let the shoulders relax down again. And feel a bit like you're kind of cupping the air in the palms of the hands. Deep in breath, palms flowing up. And out breath, hands to heart. Another in breath, palms coming out to the sides of the body. Take the palms up. Let them float up again, breathe in. And out breath, hands into heart. And we'll find our way now onto all fours, coming into tabletop. Nice flat spine here. And just tucking under the toes behind you. You look back between your knees. Make sure you can see space between them so you're good hips width apart with the legs. And then coming into cat and cow with the toes tucked under, we'll breathe out and curve. And breathing in, we're lengthening out through the spine. And a few moments to follow your breath through the body, in and out. And to find a sense of flow. But just be aware though, as you do this, if the positioning of your feet wants to change, so make sure your ankles are still parallel with one another. Likewise the calves. And so you're using your leg muscles, using the core muscles to hold that stability through the legs, through the feet. And with your next round of breath, we'll slide the hands forward. Pelvis is still lifting, so it's stacked up above the knees. And we're letting the forehead rest on the floor into melting heart. And sliding back onto the heels, sitting on the feet now rather than having the toes tucked under. And we're going to bring one foot on top of the other. So you're kind of sandwiching your feet like that, sitting back on the sole of the upper foot, drawing up into the spine. Big in-breath, arms flowing up, and we catch hold of one elbow point and the hand will just drop down the spine. And you're drawing up both elbow points while rooting down into the feet. Take both hands now to the shoulders, elbows drawing up. And in-breath, arms flowing up. Out-breath, we'll take the arms forward, letting the spine come down. And then hands arriving on the mat, squeeze your inner thighs together as much as you can here. It's really strengthening for knee joints, this is. Soft shoulders, one more breath. Keep squeezing inner thighs together to see you back onto all fours. You may need to walk out the hands. And then we'll relax out the feet. And we're taking the heels up towards the bottom. Now level out your spine when you're there. And we'll just rock forwards and backwards a little bit with the feet lifting. Now we're going to come back to sitting on the feet again, but this time you're going to cross the feet one on top of the other, the way that you just weren't doing. And so you'll root back, knees together, feet together, and we'll take the arms up again. And this time creating your little rectangle with the hands, the other hand just dropping down the spine, drawing up. Squeeze into your inner thighs here. Next breath. And then hands to both shoulders again, elbow points still pointing up. Take the elbow points out to the sides now. And we'll slide fingers up behind the skull, interlacing fingers together. Stretching up the arms above the head. And with your out breath, letting the spine draw forwards again. Take your time. Squeeze into your inner thighs. And we'll take the forehead down. Now squeeze into the inner thighs as you start to lift back up onto all fours. Well done. Walk the hands forward. And then we'll relax out the feet again, tucking under toes. And with the toes tucked under, you're coming back to sit on the heels. Do pop some padding underneath here if you need to. And a big in-breath. We're lifting up the arms above the head. Out breath, hands to heart. And then fingertips coming up to the shoulders, elbows out to the sides, and start to draw your elbows back a little bit. So you'll feel the opening across the chest. Arms lifting up, breathing in. And out breath, the arms will come back forwards again. And with your hands coming to the floor, we're going to lift up and into a down dog with the knees bent. Oh, I'm just going to walk back onto my mat. You're in down dog, knees bent, and so you're drawing your thighs up and back. Now just check in your down dog that as well as the heel of the hand, you can feel your fingertips in contact with the floor. So you really feel the weight of the hands
the weight of the body coming into the hands equally, not just the heel, not just the sides of the hands, fingertips as well. Really nice leverage then that will give you in your down dog. Take another breath here. And we'll start to straighten out the backs of the legs. You're taking this into the hamstrings now. Next round of breath. Left foot will come forward between the hands. Do stand up if you prefer to get there. And we'll drop the back knee down. You put some padding underneath that back knee, sliding that back knee away from the body. Immediately you'll feel it open up the top of the right thigh. Now, you can come up onto the fingertips, framing the front foot. We'll take a few breaths there, feeling the lift up through the spine. One more breath. And hands to the inner edge of the foot. Now go easy on the knee joint and the hip joint here. We're coming onto the outer edge of the left foot. So you'll notice you do that. The knee will come out to the left-hand side and you'll feel it up in the groin. We'll take a couple of breaths there. Next round of breath. Plant your left foot back down again. So you're back in the lunge, walking your hands back in towards the body. So you're coming up onto that right knee a little bit. Now, lift up your right foot, and now we're going to swivel that right knee so it's perpendicular with the long edge of your mat. And it's at a right angle. And then you're walking around, so you're kind of now facing the long edge of your mat. Walking this left knee a little bit. You can bring your hand onto it, or you can bring your hands to the floor. Now lunge forward into that left knee. So you can see your back foot is at a right angle. It's kind of cutting across the mat rather than going out along the long edge of the mat. Lunge forward into that top knee, the front knee. You should feel a nice opening all the way along this inner seam of the thigh, into your back glutes maybe, into the hip flexors. But take a few breaths there. And then we'll walk our hands round to the foot we just did to the opposite side. So now, right foot is going to come between the hands, and we're sliding that left foot back, opening into Anjaneyasana, really opening the top of your left thigh here. A few breaths here. You can come up onto the fingertips, maybe onto a block. Take time with these to really just let your body relax into the sensation. You know, to find a place where you can kind of sit, breathe into that sensation. Hands will come to the big toe side of the right foot, and then we're coming onto the outer edge of the right foot. And that would take the knee out a little bit to the right hand side. It may just be a very slight tilt. Keep drawing back through that left foot. When you've done a few breaths there, again walk your hands around to the center, lift up that back knee, and then swivel it around so it's at right angles to the mat. Hands, I prefer to keep the hands here on the mat here rather than drawing them up. Obviously, you can put a bit of pressure on that right thigh. Then we're lunging forward into the right knee. You should feel all sorts of sensation happening on that inner seam of the left leg, into your glutes. So you open up into the hips a little bit. All good to bring a little bit of opening into the hips. You know, it kind of really helps to strengthen the legs as you open up into the hip joints, realigns the pelvis. It does open up all sorts of odd sensations though within the body. Okay, we've done a few breaths there. This time we're going to walk the hands back. So you're framing that front foot, and from there, we're putting hands either sides of the front foot, root down, and we'll step back into down dog. Bit of bend through the knees in down dog. And lifting your left knee up. So your heel is coming as close into your bottom as you can as you draw that left knee skyward. Feel that lovely stretch on the top of the left thigh as you draw the knee up. Hold there for a bit. Make sure your right leg is strong. You're anchoring weight back into that right heel. Next breath. Left knee will come up towards your core. We're looking down towards the left knee. And then you're taking the left knee out to the side and you're holding it there. It's quite hard going on the leg actually. You're using a lot of leg muscles there. We'll take another breath. If you want to, you can straighten out the left leg. Intensifies it a little bit more. Breathe into it. Keep it working. Left foot down. Now we will take a little bit of a vinyasa here just to open up into a bit of back bend. So you can either come onto all fours, else you might come into plank and lower down. We all arrive into a cobra, peeling the spine up. We'll actually arrive back down again to the mat for a moment. And we're then going to just do a nice round into locust, so hands behind the spine, thighs will lift, chest will lift, hands will lift as well. Give yourself a couple of breaths there. And then hands underneath the shoulders, lower the feet down. And an in-breath, lifting up into cobra and arriving back and into down dog. Nice deep breath in down dog. Keep that bend through the knees. Can you still full weight through fingertips as well as the heel of the hand? And then we'll lift up the right knee. So right knee's lifting up as high as you can. Drawing the heel in towards the bottom, keep lifting it so you open up into that right thigh. And then right knee can come into the core. You look down at it. And then you'll take the right knee out to the side. It's quite hard work because you really are having to work to hold the weight of the body up, the weight of that leg up. Straighten out the leg if you want to for the last few breaths, so 3 breaths. And then right foot coming back to the floor. Little bit of sway through the pelvis as you look forward. Bit of bend through the knees. Breathe in and out breath. Feet coming up to the top of the mat. And you're folding down the length of the legs. Nice, easy forward fold, however you want to take this one. Root back into your heels. And just tip the weight slightly forward onto the front of the feet. And then we'll anchor the weight down through the middle of the sole of the feet. And we'll start to rise up into standing. The arms will follow, a deep in-breath and out-breath, arriving back and into the heart. And arriving in the heart, feet to hips width or so apart from one another. And we'll take the arms out behind us. You're squeezing into your shoulder blades there. And we'll interlace the fingers. As you do so, roll back your shoulders so you get that little lovely squeeze in the middle of the shoulders. And we'll start to drop down into our seat. Now, I know, actually, I'm going to show this way. I know often when you come into chair, you know, the knees jut forward. This time, I'd really like you to take your weight back. So you're sitting on the space behind you, and you really have to use those legs to keep that balance. So knees are more or less above your ankles as much as you can. It's really hard doing it this way, but I find it very hard anyway. Squeeze into the shoulders a little bit more. Start to root down into your feet, and we'll straighten out the legs. And we'll relax the shoulders down. And I'm just going to roll them back a little bit. Chin to throat, hands still interlaced behind the back. Shoulders drop down even further, chin to throat. And in-breath, lifting the chin up. Now interlace your fingers the opposite way, still behind the back. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze into the shoulder blades. And again, drop down into your seat. Make sure the knees don't want to creep forwards. Now a breath also there. And we'll let go of the arms. So they're just hanging by the sides of the body. Taking them out in front. And almost like you're holding something very big out in front of you, but a nice relaxed hold here. Take your seat back a little bit more. Drop down a little bit more. Root down a little bit more. One more drop. Anchor the weight into the heels. Out breath folding. Right hand will come round to the left hand side with the left hand, and then you'll take the arms over to the right hand side. Swing them back over to the left. And we're coming back to the center line. A deep in-breath, and you're rolling your spine all the way up. And out-breath, hands to the heart. Root down into the left foot, and as you are doing with your hand in down dog, make sure you can feel contact between the toes with the mat, the heel with the mat, either sides of the foot with the mat. And then either balancing on the very tip of your right toe, a little bit of bend for your knee, or else lifting that right foot up. Both knees are stacked together. Lift the right knee up like a flamingo bird. And your flamingo now is going to bend down to look down at the water. You're going to bend, bend, bend. Keep sitting back. Ooh. Another breath. Keep that bend with the flamingo bird. Lovely. Straighten up. Left leg. Right foot will come down. Again, feel contact, not just the toes, the back of the heel, both sides of the heel of the right foot. And we'll lift up the left foot. So you're either balanced on the very tip of the left foot, or else you're lifting the whole foot off. breathe, breathe, breathe as you find your balance. And then let the flamingo bird bend a little bit. Feeling the contact, sit back, sit back. And straightening up. Left foot coming down. Okay, a big in-breath now through the arms. And as you bring your hands down to the heart, we're going to lift up the right foot. We're kind of doing the same again, but our arms are up above the head. Harder to find the center of gravity there. With the right foot still lifting, start to bend down. Put a little bit of bend into your left knee. So you can bring your hands down to the mat. Still got the right foot lifted. In breath, right leg stretches up to the ceiling. You're folding into the left leg. Out breath. Right foot comes back to the left knee. We're back into flamingo stance, but hands on the floor. In breath, straighten up the right leg. Fold. Out breath, flamingo. In breath, lift up. And out breath, flamingo. In breath, one more. And after straightening up your right foot here, start to drop that right foot down to the mat. Take your time. Let it land. Big toe pad. Roll the foot down, all the way down. And with a bend through your front knee, you may want to wiggle the feet forward of that front foot. We're going to lift up into standing. Left knee is directly above left heel. In breath, arms will float out into warrior two. Keep feeling the weight of the body through the front of the feet, the toes, the heel, the sides. In breath, front knee will straighten. Another in breath, we come back into warrior two. And then windmilling your arms over, tip your back heel in a little bit so you're now facing towards the short edge of the mat. Lunge forward onto the front knee, the arms will float up, and we're in warrior one. In breath, arms will come down, and we're going to step the back foot forward now to join the left, root into the left foot, press down and lift. Right foot joins left. Both feet together. Big toe pads are together, a little bit of space for your heels, just a fraction of space between heels. And in breath, starting to anchor into your right foot. Bring the weight to the toes, the heel, either sides. And we come up, we'll keep the big toe pad anchored on the floor and lifting that left foot. Big in breath, the arms will float up. Still got the foot lifted. Breath also there. Start to lower down into your seat. Hands will start to come down, and your hands are going to find their way all the way down to the floor. You'll bend that right knee as much as you need to. And once you're on the floor, left foot still lifted, breathing in, we'll straighten it up. And you're folding inwards and breathing out, knees together into the flamingo bird. Another in breath, lifting up, and back into flamingo. One more. Now from here, take your time to bring the foot back in. Start to lift up. And this time we're going to step back with that left foot. Keep anchoring your right foot. Take it back. Start to lower it. You start to feel the big toe pad of the left foot. Anchor. Plant the foot down. And you've arrived up into warrior two on the other side. Adjust your feet as you need to, so you've got space between the legs. And then feeling the weight anchored equally all through the feet, both sides, we take the arms out to the sides of the body. Keep the shoulders soft. Another breath also here. Lovely. In breath, straightening up that front leg. Out breath, open back out again into warrior two. And we'll start to windmill the arms as you rotate that back heel just a fraction, so it's more at a diagonal. And so you're facing forward. And then we can take the arms up and into warrior one. Take your time as you start to bring the arms down to frame the front foot. And from there, we're stepping back into down dog. Root down into the fingertips as much as into the heel of a hand. And breathing out, you'll find your way down and onto all fours. And with all fours, on all fours, you'll find your way into a few cat and cows. And we'll find our way from one of your cat and cows down and onto the belly. And arriving on your belly, arms are going to come out behind you again. And we're going to plant the backs of the hands. We're going to plant the top of the hands down to the mat. And breathing in, we'll lift the legs up and we'll lift the chest up. Now, make sure both of your legs are working together here. Anchor them, another breath. And lowering feet back down to the mat. Going to do one more breath, round of locust here, or you may want to come into upwards bow, bending both knees, reaching back for the backs of the feet, the outer edges. And then either coming into another round of locust or else coming into upward bow. And lowering all the way back down to the mat. I'm going to roll over onto the bed, onto the back now. Lining up your feet. Making sure you can feel that contact through all parts of the foot now with mat. Looking just down towards your knees. In breath, arms will come over the head, up behind you. Now breathing in, start to roll your spine off the mat. Making sure, as we did last week, we had the blocks between the knees. Just making sure you've got that kind of sense of squeezing in the thighs towards one another. Don't let your knees stay out to the sides here. Really do make sure you're engaging the inner thighs. Press down into the heels, tops of the feet, toes. Last round of breath. And we're starting to lower the spine back down again. Threading the needle on the spine, we're taking the left foot so it's crossing your right thigh. Now, if you are aware that the knee needs a little bit of protection, do make sure you're flexing this left foot as you cross it across the thigh. Just find your point when you can feel the opening down in your left hip. Make sure there's none of that pressure is coming up into the left knee. And we're going to take the right knee in towards the chest. Now that may be enough there. You may want to reach the hands down around the back of the right thigh. Just continue drawing that right thigh in a little bit more. She'll open up all sorts of sensation. Decide what version you want to go in, whether it's just kind of stopping there and you've got enough going on there, lifting the right knee a little bit, or hugging it in. Give yourself time. Few breaths here. Allow the body to open and to relax into that opening. When we plant the right foot down, so right foot's down, your left foot is still crossed over the top of the right thigh. And we're starting to take this right knee down towards the right hand side. Keep gluing your left ankle to the right thigh as that right leg travels down. So it will come down towards the floor and your left foot will follow, left foot planted on the mat, left knee up towards the ceiling, and you'll find this lovely stretch across your IT band, down into that left hip. You can take your left arm out to the side, turn your gaze in that direction. Next round of breath, taking both knees up again to the center line. We're just going to come into happy baby, half happy baby, catching hold of the back of your left thigh, or else catching hold of the outer edge of that left foot, taking that knee out to the side. And as you take the knee out, right hand to the inner right thigh, and just iron yourself, iron the right thigh on a diagonal away from you. May just be a suggestion of a diagonal. Just encourage the opening across the front of the groin. Half happy baby is honestly one of those stretches. It's almost quite exquisite because you really can get deep inside your hip flexor there.
relax into whatever you're feeling there, whatever's been offered. And then we're going to bring the left foot down. So your left foot is down below the left knee, right foot will cross over the left thigh, and you've got that right angle shape again. Right leg on top of the left thigh. Now opening out that right angle, prizing that right thigh away from you a little bit. That may be enough going on there, the sensation. You can lift up the left foot. You can reach to catch hold of the back of the left thigh. So then you're drawing that left knee in a little bit more direction. We'll give ourselves a few breaths here. Really work patiently here. Allowing your breath to flow into tight areas. And from those few breaths, we'll plant the left foot back on the mat. Still keep your right foot connected across the top of the left thigh. And we'll start to take the left knee over to the left-hand side. That right foot will follow. And so your right knee will end up towards the ceiling. You can take the right arm out if you want. We'll give ourselves a few breaths here. From those breaths, we'll take both knees up. And we're coming into half happy baby again. This time you can catch around the back of the right thigh. You could reach up towards the outer edge of the right foot. With your left hand, you'll ease away that left thigh on that slight diagonal. And we'll take a few breaths here. Anything you can kind of do to open up the hip flexors, bring a bit more mobility, fluidity, circulation into the hips is really going to be helpful for the legs. It just means the knees won't take the strain so much. Kind of enhancing the mobility of the body so much and opening up the hips. Round of breath, and we'll bring the right foot back down. So both feet are back down now. Knees are still pointing up towards the ceiling, feet underneath them. And now we're going to hug the left knee in towards the body, interlacing hands on the top of the left knee, whilst catching hold of the back of the thigh again. And we'll stretch the right leg all the way out to the floor. When you've done a few rounds of breath there, hands behind the back of the left thigh, and we'll stretch that left leg up towards the ceiling. Keep a bit of bend through the left knee if you like to. See if you can feel that sense of pushing the ceiling up with the heel of the left foot. The next couple of breaths, if your hands are at the thigh, you may like to see how it feels to slide them up along the length of the leg. This opens up a slightly different sensation.
Now working through the hips now, we bring the right hand down to the right thigh and the top of the right hip. So you're anchoring it here. Now you can keep the left hand behind the back of that left thigh. You can hold it up towards the ankle. Whatever really feels right. Going to start to bring this left leg out to the left hand side. Now, of course, at some points, the whole body wants to tip up and towards the weight of the left foot. So you're going to be quite firm with yourself here to anchor your weight down that right leg just before the tipping point. It's really quite hard to do because you've got gravity wanting to take that left leg. You're going to have to really work quite hard to keep the balance of both hips equally on the floor. Very easy to cheat. Now breath, using the core muscles and the leg muscles, squeeze that left leg up to the center line. Crossing now your right hand onto the left leg. And we're just taking the left leg a little bit over to the right hand side. Opens up all the muscles in the glutes, the outer seam of the left thigh. They just come across the center line just a fraction. It's quite a strong stretch this, so take a few breaths there. Make sure you haven't lost your right leg, the one stretched out on the floor. And arriving back to your center line, and we're bending the left knee, and then we're going to stretch it out so it arrives on the floor by the right leg. So onto the right hand side now, hugging in the right knee to start with. And from that, hands behind the back of the right thigh, and we're opening up the right leg up towards the ceiling. Strong left leg, active left leg. Sliding your hands up towards the right angle to see how that feels. May not feel a need to do that, just keep the hands where they are. And from here, you're going to catch hold of that right leg, left hand on the left hip, that's your anchor as you start to take the right foot over to the side, and you're pausing just before gravity gets wrapped up in this and wants to take your right leg out to the floor. Make sure your left shoulder is still on the floor. And now you'll know if you've gone that step too far, if now it's a real kerfuffle to get that right leg up and to your center line. You're really working against gravity there. You can kind of see that point if you go back to it again, where it's kind of easy to do and where it's really quite tricksy to do. Left hand over to the right leg, and then you're taking that right leg over to the left, right arm out to the side, till you feel that lovely line of opening up and into that hip flexor. Right hip flexor. Strong left leg still. Expanded breath. And right leg is coming up again now. So hugging that right knee, stretching it out along the length of the mat. Both legs on the floor. And we're going to come into a few moments of Shavasana here. Arms out, legs out, and eyes shutting. As you lie in your Shavasana, Feel your breath traveling up along the body, from the feet, all the way up to the crown of the head, and flowing all the way back down again, back down to the feet. Using your breath to kind of piece together all the different parts of the body that we've been working with and bringing them into one hold. Making sure one part doesn't dominate more than another, like different pieces of a jigsaw. Note whatever rises up within you, whatever thoughts are rising up, whatever sensation, whatever feeling tone within the body. Letting that pass, travel through you. Your mind move on the flow of the breath. Just noting if the mind wants to make one sensation or thought more important than another. And letting your awareness flow with the breath to soften that pull. To bring equal weight and balance to all parts of consciousness. Start to bring a little bit of movement into the body now. Maybe into the toes, the fingers, the head from side to side. Before you move on to the side of the body, you may want to take a deep out breath through the mouth. And then bending knees, you can roll over onto the right side. Join a few resting breaths here. And from resting breaths, finding your way up into sitting again. Now let your eyes shut as you arrive in a comfortable seat. Breathing in, breath, your energy rising up through the body. And breathing out as if it's overflowing from the crown of the head. Let it flow into the space around you. Almost like you're creating a sphere, an orb of energy, of breath around you.
Another in breath, energy rising up. And out breath, allowing your breath to flow into this sphere-like shape in all directions around you. Do that a few more times. And with your final in-breath, rising up through the body, spine lifting. And out-breath, hands to the heart as the energy flows around you. And within that space, bowing the head forwards to heart. And from heart to our sense of self and to each other, bowing forwards. And closing practice. Thank you.